Let's be honest here. You just can't take people for granted, right? You just can't take people for granted. If the customers love your brand, they love the games, yes, that's great. But when you start to do people wrong, that's where shit start to go left. Look, man, we all know that the PS2 was the best-selling console of all time. That record still stands to this day. 155 million PS2s were sold. Now, I know a lot of that had to do with the PS2 being a Blu-ray player. I'm sorry, a DVD player. It was a lot of people's first DVD player, including myself. But at the end of the day, it still sold 155 million consoles. So when the PS3 dropped, PlayStation got arrogant. They said, we're going to charge them $600 and they're going to buy it. No, people don't like to be played with like that. Only the die-hardcore ponies will take everything PlayStation is giving them. Only the die-hard, I pay for my games, I love PlayStation. Only those guys will take everything PlayStation is giving them. So when you see the beginning of the PS3 generation, PlayStation was getting destroyed by the media, by gamers, by everybody, except for the ponies. Therefore, the Xbox 360 took advantage of that generation. And of course, the next thing I'm about to talk about, the Xbox One generation. Xbox was riding off of the success of the 360 and the Kinect, and they made some terrible decisions. And guess what? The consumer turned their back on them. When you constantly make bad decisions, people will turn their back on your ass. And that's what happened with the Xbox One. We know the story. And Xbox spent a whole generation trying to recover from the Xbox One generation. Similar thing with the PlayStation 3. It took until the end of that generation for PlayStation to get their shit together. Now here we are, the PS5 came out the gate selling well, selling great, doing great things. But now they're just making some decisions that's pissing people off. Some of their decisions is flat out pissing people off. I have never in my life seen a console get a price increase 2 years into the generation. Now I understand some things are happening in this world right now, but when your biggest competitor said, no, we're not increasing our prices, you look foolish. You look foolish like Xbox did in the Xbox One generation, where their console was weaker and more expensive. Xbox One, $500, 720p, 900p. PS4, $400, 1080p. That's foolish. So here we are, the PS5 is the more expensive but weaker console. Well, in anywhere besides the United States. And how do those people feel that live in Canada, Mexico, Japan, Australia, everywhere else besides the States that has a price increase on the PlayStation 5? If you don't think that that's going to sway people to the Xbox, you're mistaken. If you think some of these people are just going to take it because they had the PS4 or they enjoyed the PS4, you're sadly mistaken. There are millions of people still on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And soon, those folks are going to upgrade. And I mentioned this before, but those casuals, they're not brand loyal like us. They don't give a damn which console they play on. They're going to get the console that's best for them. They're going to get the consoles that their friends are playing on. And in this current economy, the Xbox is the best place to be. They have a powerful console for $500. If you don't live in the US, that's cheaper than like the Xbox Series X is cheaper than the PS5 if you don't live in the US. They have the cheaper console in the Xbox Series S. And then they have Xbox Game Pass. Listen, you guys hate it when Xbox guys constantly talk about how great Xbox Game Pass is. The PlayStation fanboys, they get upset. F Xbox Game Pass. I hate Xbox Game Pass. But in reality, Xbox Game Pass is amazing. And it's only going to get better when Xbox first party start dropping these games on a consistent basis. Listen, guys, I'm just saying, can PlayStation win back the good graces of their customers? Even if they say, you know what, we're going to go back on this price hike. Then they will look like liars. If they all of a sudden said, we're not going to do a price hike, after all of that shit Jim Ryan said about inflation and all of those things they said, they're going to look like some liars. And it's crazy, man, because with the Xbox One, people want to say that Xbox One, was terrible, it was weak. But you know something the Xbox One had in the first few years of that generation? Games. They had a lot of quality games. And PlayStation didn't have a lot of games at the beginning of the PS4 generation. They had a couple, but when it comes to first party, they only had a couple games the first 3 years. But now I'm seeing people say, well, you know what? If PlayStation have a great PlayStation Showcase in September, people are going to forget about this price hike. Oh, really? People are going to forget about this price hike if they show a couple of decent games at the PlayStation Showcase in September. Isn't that funny? Because that shit didn't work for Xbox. Xbox had the better library the first 3 years of the Xbox One PS4 generation. But people still destroyed the Xbox for being weaker. People still destroy Xbox for DRM. Even though they went back on the DRM, they still got destroyed for trying to do it in the first place. See, guys, I never forget these things. I never forget. And I'm going to keep on bringing this shit up from the Xbox One generation. Yeah, I've seen several ponies saying, PlayStation has the PlayStation Showcase. Everybody's going to forget about this price hike. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because PlayStation has been doing some crazy shit lately. Like being hypocritical, crying about Xbox about to acquire Activision Blizzard, crying about Xbox Game Pass. But they're up here having these exclusive deals for content with Hogwarts Legacy. All of this stupid shit they have, and they're being hypocritical. Taking Final Fantasy off of Xbox, but they're being hypocritical and crying. People are paying attention to this. I've seen several media people call PlayStation out for this. People are paying attention. And all I'm going to say is that, can PlayStation earn the customers' good graces? Because right now they're still okay. The PlayStation 5 is still selling. But what's going to happen? Word is going to get around. This holiday, when people go to get their kids a PS5, say in Canada, like, what the hell? Look at the price. In Japan, what's up with this price? Australia, I'm not buying this shit. I'm buying the Xbox Series S. All I'm saying is people are paying attention, bro. Listen, it's time for me to get up out of here. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you happen to stumble across my channel and you think I'm decent enough, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? And if you subscribe, please hit that notification bell to know what my black ass is doing for new content, baby. All right, everybody. Peace and love. Peace and love. Shit. Damn, man.